Welcome to Expanded Capacity. My name is Michael Risk. Today kicks off this week's movement of looking. It's definitely not an activity that I've ever had somebody come in and say, hey, I'm having a hard time looking, maybe turning over the shoulder, something like that, but not a movement that's necessarily explored yet. Something we do all day, every day. Our eyes are driving us toward what we feel is most important in our lives. So, and when it comes to looking, the immediate thought is I need to do something in my neck, something stiff in my neck, and I need to loosen it up. It's a limited thought process, and so looking is a whole body reaction. And so the proof's in the pudding. I should be able to prove that this week. Today we're going to focus on looking and your feet's role in looking. Okay, so we're going to get started with just a few breaths here. We're going to do a couple litmus tests just to see what our looking capacity is. Then we're going to do something constructive and productive. We'll come back at the end just to see if our efforts were worthwhile. All right, let's get to it. So 3 deep breaths. All right, let's get to it. So when we do our looking litmus tests, we're only going to be looking over one direction. Usually I'll do 5 on one side, 5 on the other, and then alternate 5 per side. But if we alternate looking over shoulders, we're probably going to get dizzy. So let's try to avoid that. So we'll start by just looking over the left shoulder 5 times. And you just want to see where do you naturally get to when you look, right? And then you're looking for something over your left shoulder in your room that you can see clearly. So I could see my studio light very clearly. Go one more. All right, and then we're going to go the other way. So we're going to look over the right shoulder, and I have much, much less range and capacity this way. The thing that I could see most clearly is actually the screen. All right, and then now let's just change the direction. This isn't going to be looking as much as just kind of moving the head. All right, so what you're going to do is you're just going to let your head fall to the left, just like so. And we want to see the ability for the head and neck, spine to collapse to the left. I guess you could look at something like this. All right, and then we'll switch that over. And I run in, I hit my limit very quickly here also to the right. So pretty important information. And this is when you start to see looking goes way beyond just what the eyes can do. Okay, so now we're going to go to our, in the sagittal plane, we're going to tuck. All right, so you want to just first see how well does the spine collapse, just like that. All right, so you can think about just kind of falling into good, bad posture. All right, so it's a chin tuck. We're looking down, obviously exaggerated. Okay, now let's just reverse that. We'll go up. So you just want to see how high can you lift your chin before you start to feel any kind of hesitation. Okay, so we've got our litmus test down. Now let's check our posture scan. All right, so the first question is, are your shoulders rounded, neutral, or chest out? What's the position of your shoulders? Rounded, neutral, chest out. I'd say I'm actually more at a chest out position this morning. All right, and let's get to it. So we're going to first start in the rotational plane, okay? So the way that's going to look, I'm going to stand next to a wall. I'm going to look over my shoulders just to kind of where my threshold is. Then I need my hands to hold that position. So you need to play with the angle a little bit. So I'm going to turn my feet just a little bit more away. There we go. Now my hands are actually holding me at my threshold. From here, what we're going to do is really simple. We're just going to allow ourselves to roll from the heel toward the ball of the foot. And you're still looking over that left shoulder. So just nice and easy. Doesn't have to be as far as you can. Just do what you can do. 9. Okay, we're going to hold here. Ready? So we're just going to just pulse. 9, 8, 7. This is when you start to realize that the relationship between your ability to look in a direction. Okay, let's give that a break. And what your toes can do, right? We're using our foot and our toes as a driver to enhance our ability to look more effectively. So we're going to now go. You have to look over the right shoulder, want to see how far you get. So this is actually fine for me because I can't look that far here. Okay, and then from here, what I want to do is I'm going to let my knees bend forward. And it's okay to allow the heels to lift off the ground. This doesn't have to be forceful to be effective. Let's go one more here. Hold, and then we're just going to pulse. 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. On that one, just so you know, my right heel was off the ground way further than my left heel. It's okay. I'm not trying to make them even. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the funnel plane. We're going to start by bending to the left. So just find that threshold. Okay. And then from here, again, this is a whole body movement. So as you tilt, I'm just going to actually have one hand high, one hand low to help support this position. All right. And then same deal. Just going to bend heels to toes. Couple more here. All right. And then hold. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. And now we're going to go the other direction. So let your head fall to the right now. I mean, I can already see that I'm loosening up here on my stiffer side. All right. And then now let's go. And then as soon as I start to drive toward my toes, I can feel some stiffness and limitation in my mid-back. It's not pain, just a little bit of resistance. So I make sure that I just move right up to that point of resistance, but not past it. Couple more here. All right. And then we're going to hold that last one and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the sagittal plane. So you're probably actually going to want to be holding on with the hands as well, but just I'm going to give you the side demo. So we're going to collapse here. Okay. Tuck the chin, round the spine. We're looking down. Then we're going to hold, and then we'll drive toward our heels, our toes. Okay. So find the collapse, do the collapse first, grab. Okay. And then from here. Now, what's nice with this one is as I bend my knees forward, when I rock back to my heels, I'm going to lift my toes up with me. 8, 9. Okay, we're going to hold back on the heels now and just drive in that direction. So straight back, straight back. Still chin tucked, still looking down. 7, 8, 9. There we go. All right, and now we're going to go into the last one here is going to be lifting the chin. All right, so we do the lift. Going to hold the hands. Ready? We're going to drive toward the toes. Just like so. We're going to go for 5 more. Just keep the chin lifted right to your threshold. It does not have to be forceful. Go one more and hold. It's going to pulse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, there we have it. There's all directions of looking. Let's go back to our litmus tests. So we're going to start with the rotation. And now from here. Yeah. So I had a studio light that I was able to see here. Now I'm able to see my window here. Nothing aggressive, just finding my threshold. All right, let's check the other side. This is my very limited side. Much better. I can see a picture over here. I was only able to see the screen previously. Now I'm able to very clearly see a picture of my wall here. So pretty significant difference. And then you end up realizing, wow, everything really is connected. All right, so now you're gonna go side bend. This is gonna be more by feel, right? Just the movement feels much easier. I'm clearly going deeper, and a little cheat sheet is when I bend to the side, I just kind of notice how far does my arm naturally slide down my leg. All right, so I feel that, and the other side was extremely limited for me and much, much better. Still the more limited side compared to the other, but I have to compare to where it was when we started. Okay, and now from here, we're gonna go chin tuck. And so another, again, some of these are a little difficult to measure, but what I feel is the overall amount of roundedness and ability to tuck my chin. I'm getting muscles to light up all along my back as I round more. Okay, and then we go chin up. Yeah, now this one I'm getting pretty much right up to the ceiling. Before my chin was kind of pointing out at some angle. A couple more here. That feels great. All right, let's finish with our posture scan. Now I'm in a super chest out, which feels great. Let's take 3 deep breaths. Okay, there we have it. So if you notice any side-by-side differences, it's important for you to recognize that that is the root cause of any stiffness, pain, discomfort you may be experiencing. And the key is to balance the imbalances. You don't need to chase the symptom or try to fix the problem. You just need to balance the imbalance. That's exactly what we do at Expanding Capacity. Now it's time for me to go hop off into a community chat with my members. We're going to go through this routine. We're going to troubleshoot. We're going to see, what came up for people. Sometimes people might have a hard time bending forward into the toes. Their knees bother them. Sometimes their low back hurts from a certain position. So we're just going to, figure out what's good for the individuals. And I love taking care of the people in my community. I'd love for you to come check us out. It's Expanding Capacity. We're at school.com/expanding capacity. I hope you make it a wonderful day. I'll see you back tomorrow for looking and the hips. Cheers.